Hello to all. So this is going to be a lesson for 13th of April. That's Monday. Okay, so today we'll be only discussing the homework which was related to lesson 5 of chapter 5, and then we will start lesson 6 tomorrow. Now again, I'm reminding that the homework was not sent by many, just I think 4 girls sent me the answers, and those questions are very important. Anyways, I'm not going to give you the answer at all in these videos unless you solve and then send me the answers. Okay, so let's check if you have done. I don't know how I can expect the ones who did not do 2 questions, how you are going to be doing the whole page of homework. I have no idea, but those girls who have sent me the homework, yes, I'm sure I can trust them that they're doing the homework and they have understood the lesson. Okay, so let's start by checking the homework. This is chapter 5 lesson 5 homework. Okay, so you have to say, tell whether the ordered pair is a solution of the given inequality. So the ordered pair is given. All what you need to be doing is solving and finding out if the both sides of the inequality are correct. If they are correct, that means it's yes, else it's no. So here always you know the value of x is first and then the value of y. So that's the inequality. So if you are replacing the letters with the numbers, y is 6, which is going to be less than x is 1 plus 6, which in turn will be 6 is less than 7. So if this inequality is true, which is 6 is less than 7, if you think it's true, then your answer is correct. I mean, not if you think. If the inequality is true, that means you just have to say yes, the answer is the ordered pair is correct. So you just have to say yes, that's all, nothing else. Okay, so let's move on to question number 2. It's minus 3, x is minus 3, y is minus negative 12. So negative 12, you have to replace where y is, and the inequality is y is greater or equal to 2x minus 5. So y is negative 12, okay, greater or equal to, I will just try to put the symbol, okay, it's here, greater or equal to 2x. So which means 2 multiplied by negative 3 minus 5, because it's 2x, so x in place of x will replace negative 3, so that's going to be negative 12. Let's go all the way to the corner. Okay, negative 12 is going to be greater or equal to, let me put that symbol again, greater or equal to 2 multiplied by negative 3 is going to give you negative 6 and then negative 5. So negative 6, negative 5 is going to give you negative 11. Now just check whether the statement is, the inequality is going to be true or not. Is negative 12 going to be greater or equal to negative 11? Negative 12, is it greater? It's not equal, of course. So is it greater than negative 11? Of course not. So your answer is going to be no, because negative 12 is not greater than negative 11 and neither is equal to negative 11. So for this question, the answer has to be no. Okay, moving to question number 3. We have x as 5 and y as negative 3. So replace it. You will be getting negative 3 is less than or equal to negative, and then you replace the 5. So that's basically going to be negative 5 plus 2. So is negative 5 plus 2 going to give you negative 3 or something less than that? So negative 3 is going to be less than, how much is negative 5 plus 2? Negative 5 plus 2 is going to be negative 3. Is the statement true now? Is negative 3 less or equal to negative 3? Yes, because it's equal. So you just have to say it as yes. Okay, so negative 3 is equal to negative 3. So we wrote the answer as yes, which means the ordered pair is a solution for the given inequality. Okay, now coming to this part here, graph the solution of each linear inequality. How are you going to be graphing the solution? Now, always remember your answer has to be in the form first step is you are going to write the formula in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So if you write the form, rewrite the question in this form, the remaining part is going to be easier. So is this in the same form? Y is equal to x plus 4. So which means mxn, the slope is going to be 1, right? 1 over the invisible one, and the y-intercept is 4. So let's write down the data or the information there. The y-intercept is going to be 4, okay? And then the slope, which is more important for us, is going to be 1 over 1, equal to 1 over 1, which means the run is 1, it's a rise, and over 1. So first let's graph the y-intercept, which is 4. So here I cannot draw, I will just try to put the point there. Okay, so let me place it at 4. Okay, so the y-intercept is going to be 4, and then from the y-intercept we will move 1 up and 1 down, or 1 to the right. So from here it is going to be 1 up and 1 to the right, which means the next point is going to be on 1 5. It's going to be so difficult to place these. Okay, so it's going to be here. Now that you have 2 points, of course you can join them. If you want, you can take 3 also. Now if you want the third one, you have to go 1 to the down and 1 to the left. So I don't think I will be needing that much. I'll only need these 2. So I'm just joining those 2. Be very accurate when you're joining them. Okay, so this is going to be your line. Now rewrite the inequality in the correct form, because we have to decide whether it is greater or lesser, and which part are we going to solve. So just rename it as y is less than x plus 4. Okay, so now this is less, which means you are going to be shading the part which is below the line. So this part is above the line, this part is below the line. So your graph, once you shade, it should be this part shaded, nothing else. The below part of the line should be shaded. Okay, I hope, because I cannot shade this, so that's why I showed you that picture. Okay, moving to question number 2, we have 2x plus y is greater than negative 2. Now this is not in the form y is equal to mx plus b, so let's arrange it. Y is equal to mx, so 2x will become negative 2x, negative 2, because negative 2 is already on this side, so nothing will happen to that. So let's find out the slope and the y-intercept. So slope, first the y-intercept is going to be how much? Negative 2. The y-intercept is negative 2, and the slope is going to be negative 2 over the invisible one, so which means it's going to be a fall, right? Slope is going to be negative 2 over 1. So negative 2 means fall over 1. So first let's mark which is negative 2. So negative 2, you will have to put a point here, and then from this point you will go 2 down, because that's the slope. So 2 down. Okay, so 1, 2, and 1 to the right. So this is going to be your next point. Precisely, if you want me to show you, that's going to be like that. This is negative 2. This is the y-intercept, and the same y-intercept. From there, we will move 2 down and 1 to the right. So 2 down and 1 to the right will give you this point here. I cannot do it exactly, but you can do it with the pencil, because okay. So with the help of this too, I just joined the line and extended it until the end of touching the out of the square. Now, which part am I going to color? Because the inequality says it is greater. So the inequality basically is going to be something like this. Y is greater than negative 2x minus 2. So because it says greater, it should be the part which is above the line. So if this is the line, which is the part above and which is the part below, this is the below part and this is the above part. So you will be coloring, of course, this part. So when you color your answer, the graph will be like, sorry, where is that answer? Okay, your graph is going to be, this part is going to be completely shaded. Okay, because this is the below part and this is the above part. So also make sure that the line should be a dotted one, not a solid line like the one I drew, because I cannot take solid dotted lines here. So your, I don't think so. I can erase it also because I was explaining you through another program, but this is here already in Word, so I cannot do that. Make sure that this should be a dotted line because of this inequality symbol here, which says it's only greater. Like the previous one, which was lesser or equal, means here I forgot to even put the equal sign. Okay, if it says lesser or equal, it will be a solid line. If it is only less or equal, that's going to be a dotted line. So make sure that you draw a dotted line, so your answer final should be like this, a dotted line and with the right side of the line shaded. Okay, moving to question number 6. Okay, question number 6, we have, again, it's not in the form y is equal to mx plus b, so we need to arrange it properly. So let's write it as y is lesser than, okay, 0 to x. So let's move the x first. Negative x plus 1 plus 0. Because 0 is already there, so even in fact you don't even need the plus 0, because negative 1, when it comes to the other side, that will be positive 1. Now let's find out the y-intercept. Y-intercept for this is going to be 1. Okay. And then the slope is going to be negative 1 over 1 again, because it's negative x. So which means there's an invisible 1 again over the invisible 1. So slope is going to be negative 1 over 1. Because it's negative x, here it should be a 1, but we don't write the 1. We have to imagine that there is a 1 there over 1. Okay, so let's graph it. So how are you going to graph? First, let's graph the y-intercept, that's 1. So I draw a dot on 1. Okay, and then the slope, negative 1, so that's a fall. So negative 1 over 1 means that's going to be negative 1, fall 1 to the right 1. So that's going to be this part. Again, from this point, 1 down, 1 to the right. So if you want, you can take more and then do it, but I think 2 is more than enough for us to draw a line. Okay, so make sure that you join these two, most importantly this 2, and then once you use the ruler, the remaining part of the graph you will get perfectly without any problem. Okay, so your graph should be something like this. Now, will you use a dotted line or a solid line? Of course, you will use a solid line because it says, of course, you will be using a dotted line because it says only less. So it should not be a solid line, it should be a dotted line. Now, which part are you going to shade? Are you going to shade the upper part or the down part? You will be shading this part because it's lesser. So once you shade, your graph should look like this. Okay, the dotted line and the below part of the line shaded. Okay, now this question, I know most of you will not do it, but I will just explain it because you have to be aware of the problem solvings too. Usually we don't do it, but let me just explain it. Clark is having a party at his house. His father has allowed him to spend at most $20. So at most means he can maximum spend only $20, not more than that. So it should be less or equal. He liked to buy chips that cost $4 per bag and pretzels that cost $2 per bag. Okay, so let X be chips and Y be pretzels. So how much is the price of one chips bag? That's $4. So that's going to be 4X. And the pretzel is $2 per bag, so 2Y. So 4X plus 2Y should be less than or equal to 20. Why? Because he cannot spend more. He should spend 20 or less than 20. So this is going to be your inequality. Now, if you write down this inequality, of course, I'm sure you can graph it. Okay, how are you going to graph it? You change it into the form y is equal to mx plus b. Once you change it to y is equal to mx plus b, you will be getting y is less than or equal to 2x plus 5. Okay, so 2x plus 5, wait, 2x plus 10, sorry, because you will divide both the sides by 2. So 20 divided by 2 will give you 10, and 4 divided by 2 will give you 2. So your inequality is going to be y is less than 2x plus 10. Okay, so that means mx plus b, the what? The slope is 2 over 1 and the y-intercept is 10. So you draw a point here, 10. Okay, draw a point there, and then 2 over 1 means from this point you will come down, or you can it should be minus because 4x will come to the other side. So minus 2 over 1, minus 2 over 1. So you will join that point and then shade this part because it's going to be a lesser one. Now, why am I explaining these kinds of questions? Of course, even if you have an exam, you know that these will be given in a multiple choice. Questions such will be given in multiple choice. So you have to be aware of them. Only if you write this and you find the y-intercept form, it's easy for you to graph it. Okay, now the part C, give two possible combinations of bags of chips and pretzels that Clark can buy. Now, you can give any coordinate which are in this part. So for example, they gave 3 chips. So if it's 3 chips and 4. So on the line, whichever, like this part, for example, let's see this, 2. Now, if I say 2 chips bags, so I will go along 2 until I touch the line and check whether how many pretzels can he buy. So if he buys 2 bags of chips, he can buy 6 bags of pretzels. If he buys 3 bags of chips, he can buy 4 bags of pretzels. So it's like that. So these are the possible answers. Okay, so this is how you will have to be solving a problem solving question. Now the next one is write an inequality to represent each graph. Here it's more easier than drawing because you start with y, of course, right? And then check the line. Is it a solid line or a dotted one? If it's a solid one, it has to be greater or lesser, or it has to be greater or equal to, or less than or equal to. Okay, now what is the y-intercept here? Y-intercept is -2. So we know the y-intercept. Then from the y-intercept, we need to find from the y-intercept how many do we need to move until it touches the other side. So from here, let me see, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 to the right and 2 up. So 4 to the right and 2 up means the run is going to be 2 and rise is going to be 2 and the run is going to be 4. Now if I see from this part, I have to come down and to the left, which means it's going to be a -1. But here we don't have that problem at all. So once you simplify that, you're going to be getting half x minus 2. The y-intercept is -2 and the rise over run is going to be 1 over 2 once you simplify that. And then that's going to be y is greater. Why is it greater? Because the upper part of the line is shaded. So that's going to be y is greater or equal to half x minus 2. Okay, so the next one here, y, start with y. Now see which part of which side is shaded, the right, the upper, or the below one? The below one, so that's going to be less. Now check the line, that's a dotted line, which means it has to be less. Okay, not equal to. Okay, now what's the y-intercept? Where is the line touching y? It's touching at 1. So the y-intercept is 1. Now from the 1, you check to the other side of the line, how much do you need to move? So once you check, it's like coming down, right? So when it's coming down, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 2. So 6 divided by 2, -6 divided by -2, that's going to give you 3. So the slope is 3x plus 1. Okay, only you have to be very careful when you're calculating the slope. Y-intercept is easy. You just say where it's touching, the line is touching y. So that's 1. So from here, from the y-intercept, you come down until you reach the other part of the line and check how much is that. If it's a fraction, you write it as a fraction as this one. If not, for this, it's 6. So it's coming down 6 minus 6 and going to the left, which means -2. So -6 divided by -2 will give you 3x plus 1. Okay, now question number 10. Again, it is start with y. The upper part is not shaded, the below part is shaded, which means it's less, and it's a solid line, which also means it is equal to. So once you have done that, check the y-intercept. Y-intercept is 4. So y-intercept is going to be 4. Now for the slope. So from this part, you can either come this way, from up to down, or you can come this way. Any way you come, the slope you're going to get is the same. So let me come from this way to the right first. So right means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 5 down. Okay, and then it's a fall. Now because I'm coming down, it's a fall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be, is it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's not touching in fact here any line. Okay, you have to be more careful when you're doing that. See, if you see it carefully, because there's a graph is very small here. Let me expand that. Okay, now if you look at the graph here, it is not touching any line. It's in the middle of a line, so you cannot take this part because it's not touching any line. So we will take one part which is touching, like these corners, or here, or here. You can see these joints here. You can take any one. So let me check from here till here, how many do they need to move. So here it's 1, 2, so which means it's a 2 down, and then 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be down means -3 over 2, right? And plus 4. Now I'm repeating again why I did not go down that much. If you see this line here, it is not touching an exact place like these. Now these graphs here, they're touching these corners of those squares. Right here also we just took the one which is touching the line. So always better you just choose, if the line is not touching the points like that, just take any point which is any pair which is touching these points, like this is 2 and 1, or this is 4 and -2. So take those points and then count. Even you count this way, it's going to be the same. You count from up to down also, it's going to be the same. So when I counted from up, it was 1, 2. So 2 to the right, that means the down is going to be 2, and then I'm coming down, which is going to be a -1. So 1, 2, 3. So -3 over 2 x plus 4, because 4 is the y-intercept. Hope you all have got the answer right. Again, I don't know how many of you are doing. I have no idea. And of course, you cannot expect that teacher will repeat everything when you have an exam. If there is, according to the school, if they have any exam, I cannot repeat this whole lessons again. Up to you. You are studying or not is your hands. My duty is to teach you. Okay, so I hope you have done and the answers are correct. So until we meet in tomorrow's lesson, that we will be having a new lesson tomorrow. So until we meet in that lesson in the next video, stay safe and take care of yourself.